So Moon Knight came to a close with Gods and Monsters, a somewhat aptly named episode because turns out that's all the show was about, was this. Well, I guess it really was. I don't know what it was about. You had the Egyptian gods, and some of them were monsters. So there's your Gods and Monsters. And then the monster within, with Mark Spector having to deal with the other personalities that he escaped into, except he only knows of one. Steven, that's it. He somehow invented Jake Lockley, but he just doesn't know who that is, and we only got a glimpse of him until the very end. And obviously Jake Lockley was the one who was the super brutal Moon Knight, and we never got to see him in action. You see the results, and yeah, that's it. So, yeah, this was never Moon Knight. It's kind of sort of looked like Moon Knight. Khonshu, of course, was there, and that's it. None of the other aspects of Moon Knight were there. They talk about it off camera before the show started. Apparently, Mark was doing Moon Knight stuff. Maybe that show would have been better. Perhaps that's when he was working with Frenchie and Marlene and all that, but he ends up with Layla for some reason. Oh, because he was there when her father got killed. So he felt bad and decided to date her and then marry her. Yeah. So one of the suspicious things, because of the current era of wokedom, was that, oh, this is all a bait and switch, and Layla would be the real hero. Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, she's a badass, and she was beating the crap out of people who were, bigger than her and stronger and all that. And that kind of thing, which is just a dime a dozen in these shows. But the idea of the actual bait and switch, especially since Khonshu was saying that he wanted her to be his avatar and not Mark anymore. And Mark was worried about that and was trying to prevent it from happening because he didn't want her to be drawn into this terrible world of vengeance and all that sort of thing. It was teasing this, but no, she doesn't do it. She says she doesn't want to do that. She's horrified by everything. But then Tarwet, Tarwet, I don't know how you, the hippo, Henrietta Hippo from a New Zoo review. She shows up to fix everything because seemingly, Mark's dead and all that. But oh no, he can come back and whatever. Which she was going to help Layla go free Khonshu and all that. So so Henrietta Hippo eventually. Layla agrees to become her avatar. After all of that, she just like, yeah, all right, because she had to take on Harrow, who, of course, becomes the avatar of Amit. Now, Amit, Harrow and his cult, they free her from her stone, little figurine prison, which I thought they go to the Chamber of the Gods. I guess you have to do it there. I don't know, because they had it at the tomb, so seems like they could have released her there, but I guess you got to do it at the little Chamber of the Gods there. So Amit's freed, and she's, to whom do I owe my rescue or whatever, and which was odd. I mean, wouldn't she know? But I guess once they're stuck in that stone thing, they're just a stone thing, and they don't know anything. And Harrow just figured this out and was pursuing, but he had these abilities somewhat. His powers get stronger once she's freed and all that. But, he was judging people and stuff like she does. So, how'd he do that? Yeah, I don't know. Because when Khonshu was locked away, that's it. Mark didn't have any powers. The kind of powers that he doesn't have in the Moon Knight stories. Yeah. Well, anyway, so no real explanation there. Another thing that's not really explained is all the other Egyptian gods are there, and they just fall apart. They can't take on Amit and Harrow's cult. They just get their asses handed to them. And then when Kansu is freed, he fights with Amit, and it's a tough battle, but he holds his own with her. But these other guys, they couldn't do anything apparently. So they throw in the line saying, "You guys are judges, not warriors." So I don't know. From a distance, they were able to put Kansu into stone, so it seems like they could have just put Amit right back into her stone figure. Yeah, whatever. They just don't really explain any of that. Well, they're judges, not warriors. That's how it works. And it's just, but you did it. All right, not even trying. So Mark is resurrected. He actually makes it to the ancient Egyptian heaven, but he can't stand it that Stephen didn't make it. So he's got to go back and get Stephen, who never existed. Stephen was just a figment of his imagination. If he wants Stephen to be in heaven with him, Stephen's in heaven with him, because Stephen's just a figment of his imagination. You understand? Yeah. Meanwhile, Jake Lockley is still on the boat, I guess. I don't know. He was stuck in the sarcophagus or whatever. Well, whatever. So he goes back, and then he gets stuck in the sand. But then the gateway back to life opens up, and so everything's cool. And Henrietta Hippo, distracts the forces of death or whatever, so that they can escape back into the real world. So they do, and with Kansu, freed, the suit miraculously appears around Mark Spector, and then apparently he gets Superman powers and flies to the battle in Cairo. Cairo. With the pyramids and all that. So, he can fly, I guess. There's like he's gliding on the wind or something, but that's not really how that works. So then there's a big fight, but it's tough. But don't worry, Super Layla shows up, because now she's got Henrietta Hippo powers, with some wings that are bulletproof and stuff. So that's the deal. She doesn't become the female Moon Knight, but she becomes her own thing. I don't know, Night Hippo or something. And then some Egyptian girl, "Are you an Egyptian hero?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess." So there, you see, that was important. So they fight it out with Harrow, and pretty much to a stalemate. And then suddenly, Mark fades out, and then he wakes up, and Harrow is laying on the ground with his ass completely handed to him. And Layla like, "What the hell was that?" So that was Jake. Yeah. So then they take Harrow and stick him in the God chamber, and they perform a ritual, and that sucks Amit back into him, and so she's trapped. And then they dump him at an asylum, and that's that. But then Jake Lockley shows up, unbeknownst to Stephen Grant or Mark Spector, and captures Harrow and kills him. The one interesting moment is just a stinger at the end, and Khonshu is like, "Ha ha ha," Mark and Stephen, they didn't know anything about Jake, so there you go. So obviously it looks like they probably thought there would be a season 2, but it sounds like there won't be. There was supposed to be a season 2 for Hawkeye, but that's apparently getting the axe as well, because the MCU's in trouble. This lackluster shows are terrible. The movies last year were all awful. Only Spider-Man managed to swing in, but that's just Spider-Man. And early things I'm hearing about Doctor Strange don't sound so great. So this is a real disappointment, because I like Moon Knight, and I saw a lot of potential here. for the character, you know, but then right off the bat, I'm like, oh, it's not going to be Moon Knight. So that's the problem. And it never will be. I mean, so another missed opportunity, I guess. But even with all that, just to give you a metric on how bad the Marvel shows are, it looks like Hawkeye is the best one they've done. As bad and stupid as it is, it's the best of the batch. And now Moon Knight, I guess, it's kind of a distant second. Of the others, just really by default, Loki is like the very distant third. WandaVision was the most intriguing, but then that just pooped the bed deliberately because they sabotaged it and had to hurry up and change the ending and everything because, well, Doctor Strange is a white man. We can't have that in there. And then, of course, the Falcon show remains the absolute worst because they had their superhero sympathetic with a mass murderer. Crap like that, you know. So there you go. I guess it's Hawkeye for the win. Well, that's it.